Hey guys, today we're going to just be reviewing the last few ban lists and just my general thoughts on them. And I don't really think too much of these changes. Well, first things first, well, this is one of the lists where nothing is actually getting hit and we're just taking things off the list. So, branded opening, back to 2. And to that I say, I kind of wish branded opening was at 3 with a looper being at 3 as well, because just playing pure branded is not like the only way to utilize these cards to spam out like branded fusion. I kind of miss like I guess just playing with the theater, right? And playing like I guess Dyspian Dark Lords or whatever, like that kind of thing. Kind of miss it, but with one opening, yeah, and just no loopers, it's kind of hard to get into those cards. It's kind of just annoying. Having greater consistency for this, again, would be nice, but I mean, it'll take us a while, I guess, to probably get all of those cards back to, I guess, 3. Because realistically, the branded cards weren't an issue until, like, branded fusion, like, in the slightest. And I mean, I guess we've gotten a lot of new like branded cards and stuff since then, so it is what it is. And what was branded even like ever an issue? I think like probably not. Honestly, it's just whatever. Yeah, branded not really that big of an issue. So Sprite Starter, this is the weird one because this is probably the strongest card that they could just unlimit for Sprite, I guess. But it was at 2, so it's going from 2 to 3. And the Sprite cards themselves, yeah, I don't really see any issue with any of the Sprite cards in particular. Because if you think about it pretty rationally, from the starting point for these combos, Sprite Starter actually does lock you, so probably not that bad for it to go to 3. It's not that generically splashable as like in comparison to like a Sprite Blue. So if we were to have more copies of Sprite Blue, there's potential for something like a Special Summon Blue, add like a red or carrot, and then Special Summon that, and then it's just like a negate for like potential hand traps or like back row or whatever, right? So that's a little bit problematic, I guess. Maybe like maybe that's the idea behind it at least. So whatever. MX Saber Invoker. I mean, there's no difference between this card being at 1 or being at 10. You're just going to be playing this card at 1 anyways. So that doesn't matter. Destiny Hero Malicious. Well, this is pretty intriguing. So the thing about Destiny Hero Malicious being at 3, of course, is that it can just be a lot of bodies. But do we have a way to really abuse the Malicious? I mean, I honestly don't know. But alright, Malicious to 3. And then Mass Change 2 to 3 as well. And this is not that good of a card in Master Duel format anyways, because, you know, yeah, if you're playing this at 3 and you open like 1 or 2 copies while it's going second, you're just having a miserable time. And this is not, well, I mean, it is technically searchable, but you shouldn't be searching Mass Change 2 anyways. So even for going first, it's like pretty dicey because you want access to it going first, but you don't really want to see this going second. And this is like just best of 1 format, so it's like pain. So not a big deal. Fusion Destiny to 3. I mean, Bestials exist now, they didn't before, so Fusion Destiny going to 3 is kind of just whatever. I mean, we have Verte anyways, so who really cares? So for the purposes of like Verte, you would only like run probably 1, right? So it makes you kind of question why this was being limited at all. If you wanted to hurt like BP lines, banning a Celestial is definitely the way to go, or something like that, right? So maybe one day Celestial can come back, I guess. But anyways, we still have Bestials now, so not really a big problem. In fact, I haven't seen Artifact Scythe in so long, so it still is in the game, obviously, but no one's really been complaining about it because it's just not played because, you know, Bestials exist now, so yeah, not many people are doing like Verte Dagda or whatever. So we're good in that department, I guess. And then we'll go back a little bit more, and then we have this list. So Sengen summoning to be semi-limited. I think this one was not that good of a hit. Like if we're just thinking of just what the strongest hit could be, I think Sengen summoning getting hit does nothing if we just semi-limit it. Because if Sengen is semi-limited, then we can start Sangan, go into like Chundra, Bydra, or whatever, and then we have like a line to get 12,000 attack with Sangan summoning as long as we have 2 copies with our Trident Dragon or whatever by popping the field spell twice, and that is not hard once per turn, so that's not affected by this. And also Sangan summoning I think is not that good of a card in comparison to Kaiman. So Kaiman being hit would be much more significant. So if we just look at Sengen summoning and Sengen Kaiman, because they're both spells for the archetype, I think summoning is honestly not as big of a deal. So if we were to start Sengen summoning, and this is a going second deck, of course, right? So we're just going to evaluate just Tenpai engine and not focus on the non-engine they pair with Tenpai, right? So if we activate Sengen summoning, how many things can be used to stop Sengen summoning from searching? Well, we have MST. MST pop the field spell would stop it from searching. DPE, chain to the field spell to stop the search that way. We have essentially just any form of removal on summoning, aside from maybe like bounce back to hand, I guess. But bounce back to hand would be sufficient, I guess, if you could do it in chain. So like punk card, it would be like pretty awkward to bounce things back here, you know, with the punk synchro 11. A bit awkward to bounce this back, but I mean technically you can, I guess. And then we have, let's see, for Sengen summoning, if we were to use just a spell trap negate on Sengen summoning, it's not actually the same as with Kaiman, because with Sengen summoning you can only use the effect to search once per turn, but with the Kaiman, you can only activate 1 Kaiman per turn. So if we do that, it's well, just a lot more annoying, I guess, right? So with the summoning, if we had a second summoning in hand, we wouldn't be able to do the search again. If we had a copy of the Kaiman, an extra copy of Kaiman, we can use it again. And then on top of this, well, Sengen summoning is essentially ignition effect. If we just disregard the effect to make, I guess, fire dragons unaffected by activated effects during main phase 1. This is just an ignition effect to search, giving your opponent a larger response window and different options to kind of respond here. With Kaiman, you just gotta have a spell trap negate or Ash Blossom Drift Spring to respond to it. So the ways we can respond to Sengen summoning versus the Kaiman a lot different. And keep in mind, you do have an endboard for this stuff, right? So that's why Second summoning is just not that big of a deal in terms of being hit. If you consider the fact that they're always going second, I mean, you just need like any form of removal and then summoning is gone, so that's just pretty whatever. And it depends on, I guess, like the exact deck, but just for example, if we're playing like Unchained with Yubel, we can go like well, it kind of depends, but we can go like Apollosa chain to like let's say a Fadra or something, and then chain our trap to pop the field spell. If our opponent doesn't immediately do the search, if they just activate the field spell and we want to get rid of that, we can just pop the field spell with our Unchained Macro. With like Snake Eye or a lot of those other decks, like just Snake Eye variants, I guess. Just use IP, make SP, banish field spell, right? And those forms of removal just don't work against Kaiman, right? So yeah, that's a bit miserable. And yeah, that's all that needs to be really said over there about that. So okay, next list. I think we didn't talk about this one yet. So Nightmare Corruptor Ibli being banned. That I don't remember if I've talked about this one actually. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. This card here has like no wholesome uses. This will just lock your opponent no matter what, and it's annoying as hell. So with Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, I mean, if we want to implement this into Yubel, it's literally just like 3 cards, I believe. To implement this, we just include Gigantic, Sprite Elf, Ibli, so 1 main deck card, 2 extra deck cards, and we can slap this onto like the typical Yubel inboard, unironically, and you still have everything else. Kinda disgusting, and of course, the only thing you're allowed to target for an attack is Phantom of Yubel, so disgusting. Jowgen the Spiritualist. Jowgen is really good for making Albion Whiff off of Verte, and then you special summon back the Jowgen, so that's a bit of a disgusting line. Just 2-card Jowgen your opponent. If we pair this with like a deck like Yubel or Voiceless Voice, which can make it impossible to attack like your light monsters, except for like well, force you to attack a certain light monster or something, or dark monster attack into a Yubel. That Jowgen is essentially unoutable. Primeval Planet Perlarino. So this card is just really annoying because there are just so many cards that get you into Perlarino. It's, I don't know. I think people are just really sick of Tyr at this point, because I know I'm sick of playing against Tyr. That's the only thing I feel here. But just to name some cards, you know, that just search Primeval Planet Perlarino. Okay, so Rainbow Bridge, search Perlarino, adding the turtle, and then we have as well some more follow-up to this. We have Visas Amritara, so that is just Synchro 8, I believe. That searches Perlarino as well. And then we have, let's see, what else? We have just, I guess of course, hard open Perlarino. We have Ancient Fairy Dragon, search Perlarino. We have Trivikarma, searching Perlarino. We have Foolish Burial Goods to send one of the 2 traps that will allow us to search Perlarino. And then we have just randomly milling one of those traps, and that also searches Perlarino. And then Perlarino also, of course, let's assume we have just like I guess a Kikkelos plus a Solic and Perlarino. Or actually, in this case, what would we have? Probably just that, I guess. And then if we just mill a guy to make a tier with, so we make either Rukelos or Kaleido Heart the next turn, then Perlerino is also a pop, and it didn't just search the Rhino Heart. And honestly, the most annoying tier effect, I gotta say, is like, I don't even mind Perlerino that much. The one I hate the most is Scream, randomly lowering your attack points. And even if we remove the Scream, our attack points are still going to be lowered. That is the most annoying thing ever for Blackwing, because it lowers all of our attacks, so our search targets are much worse. And okay, cards to be limited, Snake Eyes Poplar. So I really dislike Snake Eyes Poplar being limited to 1 because this feels sacky, because, you know, you're going to be running multiple copies of Bonfire, so if you just randomly open the Poplar, it's just miserable. So I think that's a bit dumb. Fossil Dyna being limited. I don't really like this hit, just ban it outright. Like, why do we need 1 copy of Fossil Dyna anyways? Is it for like the Fossil Fusion kind of like archetype? Would they prefer to have this at 1 or something for that? Whatever, I guess. Fire King High Avatar Kirin being semied. I guess the only thing annoying about Kirin is that it just keeps popping your own cards whenever like someone tries to imperm something, so that's a little bit annoying, but aside from that, yeah, Kirin doesn't do much. So I don't really think the semi-limit on this one is that important. I mean, it does have an impact, but it's not that big of an impact. So really makes me question why that was done. Phantom of Yubel. I mean, at 2, it's not really that big of a deal, because you have 3 copies of what's it called? Nightmare Throne. So yeah, with 3 copies of Nightmare Throne, you can just do some recycling of your Phantom of Yubels, I guess. But it's a little bit weaker in the grind if you're unable to recycle, I guess. So that's whatever. Gold Sark is now semi-limited, and yeah, I can't think of any super good uses of Gold Sark. But if we go back to the most recent ban list here, Gold Sark being put at 2 kind of helps, because, you know, we can at least banish Tragedy, and then that allows us to get into a Looper, so a little bit helpful for one reason or another. Dark Beckoning Beast to be semi-limited, and Opening of the Spirit Gates being semi-limited is like just a feels bad, man, because we're not hitting any of the Yubel cards. Like, I would personally much rather, just for the sake of like, if you're like a Sacred Beast player, I believe you do want to run 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast, and some people, I believe, weren't even running like 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast in Yubel anyways. I don't know if the majority were, but yeah, this hurts for like Sacred Beast players, that their cards were hit and essentially only Phantom of Yubel was hit. So that's my gripe with these 2 hits, really. But I mean, this does negatively affect Yubel a bit. The one thing that I care about more is, rather than hitting Dark Beckoning Beast, I think Opening of the Spirit Gates by itself was probably fine. So yeah, Opening of the Spirit Gates. Now that hurts to see hit, but this card is really annoying when you have like a hand trap and then your opponent just activates like Opening of the Spirit Gates. That's annoying as hell. So for example, we normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, activate Opening of the Spirit Gates, and we also have to link off, I guess, the Dark Beckoning Beast, and then we discard from our hand D-Lotus, special summon D-Lotus. That's really annoying. Thunder Dragon Colossus, this doesn't super matter that it's at 3. I think you just tribute Colossus over Colossus again just a few times, and you just get some guys in the graveyard. I think that's all that does, right? And then we have Water Enchantress of the Temple, finally back to 3. Change of Heart, like, we already have so many cards that are essentially Change of Heart. Like, isn't Snatch Steal like at 3? So why would it matter if Change of Heart were also at 3, right? The cards all do the same thing. If you can make your Steel deck now, I guess you can make your Steel deck now, and then Water Enchantress. is probably the best card in this package because we can discard for cost the Water Enchantress and then activate this to get Rite of Aramesir, so that's pretty nice. Eradicator Epidemic Virus back to 3, I mean, sure. I honestly think the more problematic card that Lab plays was never Eradicator Epidemic Virus, because it's somewhat hard to blind call this in best of 1 especially. But yeah, this card's not very good in best of 1 anyway, so you're not really going to want to be running this at 3 anyways. But yeah, if we want to activate a Eradicator Epidemic Virus, it has to be pretty much done exclusively going first. There are cases where you can use it going second, I guess, but yeah, not that crazy of a card in comparison to D Barrier being reset constantly. So Chaos Base being put to 3, I mean, yeah, not much difference between this being at 2 or 3. It's just more consistent that you draw into it, I guess, so that's cool, I guess. The difference of a card being between 2 and 3 is usually just consistency reason, or aside from something like Malicious, which was like put back to 3 recently. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I don't think the last few ban lists were super impactful, except for like maybe Poplar to 1 was probably the most impactful thing in the last 3 changes, I guess. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.